She gave him 30 years of love, loyalty, and silence. But today, she walked into court, looked him dead in the eye, and said, "I'm done pretending." Asterisk, what happened next? It broke the internet, and broke him. Asterisk, one message on the screen changed everything. "I only play the loyal husband when the cameras are rolling." And just like that, Doug Christie's double life exploded in front of his wife, the judge, and the world. You're not ready for what Malaysia revealed next. This is not just about cheating. This is about control, gaslighting, and a woman rising from the wreckage. Jackie took off her wedding ring in court, and handed over the truth. You need to hear what she said next. The room was completely still until Malaysia Pargo slowly rose to her feet. She did not yell, she did not cry. But what she did next left everyone speechless. She looked straight ahead and said, with a shaky voice, "I cannot stay quiet anymore." Her voice trembled, but her eyes were filled with fire, like she had been holding on to the truth for far too long. What happened after that felt like a bomb going off. Malaysia started sharing proof screenshots, messages, and receipts. One by one, text after text revealed Doug Christie's secret life. There were late-night affairs with different women, sweet words used to control them, and even one chilling message that said, "When the cameras are rolling, I play the part, but when the lights go off, I live my truth." The entire courtroom gasped. Even the judge leaned back in disbelief. This was not just about cheating. It was not just lies. It was a fake life that Doug had built in secret. He had fooled Jackie, Christie, the fans, and the media. He was living two different lives. Jackie sat silently in the front row, frozen like a statue. Her eyes, wide and wet, filled slowly with tears as text after text lit up the courtroom screen. Each message hit her like a wave, heavy, painful, impossible to ignore. Her hands trembled in her lap, her lips barely moved, and then, in a whisper, only those closest could hear, she said, "Now I know where he was. Every night I waited for him." It was not just heartbreak, it was realization. The kind that steals your breath and punches a hole in your chest. Everything Jackie had ignored, excused, or defended for years was now out in the open, flashing on a big screen for strangers to see. Her world wasn't just crumbling, it had already collapsed. Outside the courthouse, chaos erupted. News outlets swarmed. Paparazzi rushed for shots. Social media exploded in real time. Headlines blared across phone screens and news tickers. Malaysia Pargo exposes Doug Christie's double life. In an instant, Doug's picture-perfect public image began to fall apart. The clean, loyal, loving husband that many had admired was suddenly exposed as something very different. Jackie, still seated, looked as if time had stopped. She had been blindsided, not just by the truth, but by the brutal way it was revealed. Years of loyalty, love, and public support swept away in minutes. This was not just a scandal. It was the fall of a man who once had it all, and the shattering of the woman who had helped him build it. And Malaysia, she was not there to gossip. She was not there to fight. She was there with proof, with facts, with fire. She did not just speak her truths, she pulled off the entire mask Doug had worn for years. Inside the courtroom, you could feel the pressure in the air. People leaned forward, holding their breath. Cameras clicked nonstop. No one could believe what they were witnessing. Malaysia had walked into that room with receipts, and what she brought wasn't just a folder of messages, it was a storm. One that blew through every lie Doug had ever told. And when it was done, nothing and no one in that courtroom would be the same. This was more than a court hearing. It felt like a war zone. And Malaysia came prepared. She held up a thick folder. "Your Honor," she said calmly, "I am not here to throw blame. I am here to show the truth." The truth Jackie could not see because she was already hurting too much. The room felt heavy. Doug sat frozen, his lawyer whispered urgently, but it was useless now. Malaysia walked to the evidence table. Her hands shook, not from fear but from anger. She placed the documents down. The judge looked at them, and his face went pale. The first screenshot, read, "I only play the loyal husband when the cameras are rolling. Behind closed doors, I do what I want." Gasps echoed across the room. Jackie covered her mouth, stunned. Her entire world was falling apart and it was happening in public. But Malaysia was not finished. She looked around the room, her voice sharp and steady. Doug made Jackie feel like she was the problem. He told her she was crazy, that she was imagining things. But she was right all along. Then came more texts worse than before. Messages to several women. Secret meetings in hotels. Promises of gifts and money. Lies told again and again to keep his fantasy going. In one text, Doug wrote, "You are not like Jackie. You do not nag. You do not make me feel trapped." The room fell silent. This was no longer just about cheating. It was about control, lies, and emotional damage. The judge leaned forward. "Miss Pargo, can you confirm where these messages came from?" Malaysia nodded. They were from Doug's hidden number. The one he thought no one would ever find. And just like that, the truth was out. Doug looked up, face red, sweating, filled with rage, but deep down, he knew there was no escape now. Jackie stood up slowly, like someone waking from a long, painful dream. Her voice was soft, but full of sadness. "I gave that man 30 years, she whispered. 30 years of covering for him, protecting him, standing beside him like a fool." The courtroom was dead silent. No one moved. You could almost hear her heart breaking right there in front of everyone. Malaysia gently walked closer. "You were never crazy," she said. "You were targeted." That moment hit hard. It was raw, it was honest, and it shook everyone in the room. Jackie dropped back into her seat, crying into her hands. Her lawyer reached out to comfort her, but it was too late. The pain had already been broadcast to the world. Outside, news vans swarmed like birds circling a wounded animal. Headlines were already hitting the internet. Doug Christie living a double life. Malaysia Pargo reveals shocking proof. Jackie betrayed, heartbroken, and blindsided. Inside, the judge called for a break, but nobody budged. What they had witnessed was more than just court drama. It was a full-on public reckoning. Doug tried to defend himself. "Those messages. They're out of context," he said. But Malaysia did not even look back. "You've been controlling the story for years," she said loud enough for all to hear. "You lied to the media, to Jackie, and to every woman who trusted you. But today, the truth gets to speak." Then she walked out. Her heels echoed through the courtroom as she left, head held high, shoulders strong. She was not just a witness, she was the storm. The courtroom had turned into a war. Doug sat frozen, his jaw clenched, watching the proof of his lies play out on screen. The weight of the truth Malaysia brought was crushing. The judge had not even brought down his gavel, but the silence was louder than any decision. Jackie, sitting close to Doug, looked completely shattered. She stared at the screen like she was trying to burn each word into her memory, every message he had ever sent behind her back. Her world had not just cracked, it had collapsed, and this, what they were watching now, was just the smoke rising from the wreckage. But it was not over yet. Malaysia's lawyer stood up, calm but sharp. "Your Honor, this is not the end. We have more screenshots, more voice notes, more betrayal." The next thing everyone heard was Doug's voice, but it was from a secretly recorded voicemail Malaysia had saved. "You think Jackie knows me?" he said. "She only knows what I let her see. You see the real me." A few people gasped. One juror shifted in their seat. The judge raised an eyebrow. Jackie pulled her coat tighter and began breathing faster. This was not just cheating, it was emotional manipulation. A planned, calculated lie. Malaysia stepped back into the witness box, her hands still shaking, not from fear, but from the weight of what she had lived through. "He told me I was not the only one," she said. "He said he had mastered the art of living many lives, and I believed him. Because he kept proving it." A court officer brought in printed records of text secret codes, fake names, hidden locations, even burner phones. This was no simple affair. It was a web of lies, built carefully and hidden with precision. But what truly rocked the room was what Malaysia said next. "Jackie once told me, if Doug ever lies to me, I would rather die than live in a fake world. I didn't understand her back then, but now, I do." Jackie did not respond. She just stared at Doug, and for the first time, he could not look back. She had given him her loyalty, her name, her support, her image. She stood by him through scandals and through their reality TV life. She defended him when others turned away. And this was how he repaid her. Doug's lawyer tried to change the subject. "Objection," he said weakly. "This is character assassination." But the judge was not buying it. "Counselor," he said, "if the man destroyed his own character, this court has every right to see the evidence." Malaysia stepped down from the witness stand. But her presence still filled the room like smoke, heavy and impossible to ignore. Outside, chaos took over. News vans lined the streets. Social media exploded. Doug Christie exposed. Malaysia's proof shocks the courtroom. Jackie seen in tears. Instagram. Chiki Tuki. Twitter. Everyone was talking. Everyone had something to say, but inside, Jackie was barely holding on. She whispered something to her publicist, then slowly stood up. "Your Honor," she said, her voice breaking. "Can I say something?" Jackie asked quietly. The judge paused for a second, then gave a small nod. Jackie stepped forward, not as a celebrity, not as Doug's wife, but as a woman who had been deeply hurt. "Every time I felt like something wasn't right," she said, her voice full of pain. "He made me feel like I was the problem. He gaslit me, made me question my own mind. And the worst part is, I believed him." She turned and looked straight at Doug. "I defended you. I stood up for you in front of people who already knew the truth I refused to see." Her voice cracked. "You didn't just cheat on me, Doug, you destroyed the part of me that believed in you." Doug opened his mouth. "Jackie, wait," but the judge cut him off firmly. "Mr. Christie, you may not speak unless asked." Malaysia, sitting nearby, whispered to her lawyer. She needed this moment, and she was right. This wasn't two women fighting over a man. This was about finally holding that man accountable. The two women he hurt the most were no longer staying quiet. The judge called for a short break. Jackie walked out silently. Malaysia didn't follow. Doug didn't move. But when court resumed, the energy in the room had shifted and then came a twist no one expected. Malaysia's lawyer returned with a folder. He stood tall. "Your Honor, we have a written statement from another woman. Her identity will remain private, but the story is confirmed. She was in a relationship with Mr. Christie for 4 years." Doug dropped his head. Inside the folder was a journal filled with her words. "Doug says Jackie doesn't love him like I do. We meet at the lake house. He says that's his real home. I know I'm the other woman," she had written, "but he makes me feel like I'm the only one." This was no longer guesswork. It was hard proof, and it changed everything. As the court came back into session, the mood was different. The scandal had turned into something much bigger, an emotional reckoning. What Malaysia had brought that day was more than just screenshots. It was a mirror. And for the first time, Doug had to face himself. Malaysia returned to the stand. Number, drama. Just truth. And it hit harder than anything Doug had ever faked. Her voice was steady and sharp. "Your Honor, the texts were just the beginning. I have audio. I have images. I have proof of everything he thought he had erased." Then, she said something that froze the whole courtroom. Doug Christie didn't just betray Jackie. He manipulated every woman he touched. "We weren't just victims, we were part of his game." Then the recordings started to play on the screen. Doug's voice filled the room. He had no idea he was being recorded. That made it even worse. "Jackie's obsessed with the perfect couple image," he said in a smug voice. "But the real me, she couldn't handle him." The courtroom gasped. Jackie covered her mouth, horrified. Her eyes didn't cry anymore. They were dry, like she had cried all she could. Malaysia stood still, her face calm, but her eyes were full of pain, not for herself, but for Jackie. "I told her," Malaysia said softly. "Not because we're friends, but because she deserved to know as a woman." The judge leaned forward. "Are there more recordings?" Malaysia nodded. "Dozens." She was not exaggerating. Doug had left a digital trail behind him. He had bragged to women, sent voice notes, videos, hotel plans using fake names. But his pride became his downfall. He wanted attention. He wanted to feel powerful. That is what made him careless. Malaysia handed over a 60-page printout. Dates, times, names, locations. The whole pattern laid bare. Jackie wasn't just watching her marriage fall apart. She was watching it happen on a screen, in front of the world. Doug's lawyer tried to push back. "Objection, Your Honor. This violates my client's privacy." But the judge didn't waste a second. Mr. Christie gave up his privacy the moment he used these messages to lie, manipulate, and cause harm. This court will hear it all. Then Malaysia dropped another bomb. "Your Honor, we also have sworn testimony from a woman who dated Doug during his marriage to Jackie. She's staying anonymous, but she's agreed to submit her journal." The room went quiet. Not just regular quiet, but a deep silence that felt heavy, like everyone was holding their breath. Malaysia's lawyer opened the folder and began reading. "Doug told me Jackie was a brand, not a wife. He said he loved her in public but lived with me in private. I believed him. I loved him. I didn't. No, I was just one of many. The words echoed through the room. Doug didn't flinch. He didn't blink. His face was empty like a man who had finally run out of lies. Jackie looked like she had been hit in the chest. Her breathing became short and shaky. Her hand trembled. She whispered to herself, "How did I not see it?" Malaysia's eyes locked with hers. And in that moment, you could feel their shared pain to women who had been fooled by the same man. This wasn't gossip. This wasn't about a love triangle. This was a battle. Then came something no one was ready for, not even Doug. Malaysia revealed screenshots of a fight between Doug and another woman. In one message, he said, "Jackie suspects. She's been snooping. If she finds out about you, she'll lose it. But don't worry. I got her trained." Trained? The courtroom gasped. Some shook their heads. Others whispered in disbelief. Jackie jumped to her feet. "You called me trained," she shouted. "I gave you my life." Doug. Outside, chaos erupted. TMZ posted clips of the courtroom. The Shade Room was live blogging every word. Old videos of Jackie defending Doug on basketball wives resurfaced, now soaked in painful irony. Memes flooded social media. Jackie crying in court with captions like, "Sis really thought he was different." Doug at the lake house with, "When you pretend to be faithful, but forget you're being recorded." Malaysia dropping screenshots with, "And that's on proof." But inside that courtroom, one final moment left everyone stunned. Jackie stood again. "Your Honor," she said softly, "I want to submit one last piece of evidence." She reached into her purse, pulled out her wedding ring, and placed it on the judge's desk. "I took my vows in front of God and the world. But the man I married, he took his vow in front of the mirror to serve only himself. I'm done pretending. Let this ring be the last symbol of a lie I held onto for too long." Doug whispered, "Jackie, please." But she didn't even look at him. She walked out, strong. Malaysia followed quietly. No words, no smile, just a nod of respect to the court. The judge called for a break. Doug sat alone. No more mask, no more excuses. Just a man caught in his own web of lies. Outside, reporters fought to get questions out. "Jackie, will you file for divorce?" "Malaysia, are you pressing charges?" "Doug, is this the end of your marriage?" But neither woman spoke. They did not have to. The truth had already spoken for them. That evening, Jackie posted a single Instagram story. A black screen, white letters. "Silence is peace, but truth is power. I finally have both." Malaysia shared a short clip, just her sipping tea on a balcony. The caption, "No lie lives forever." And Doug, gone. No posts, no public statement. No camera spotted him. His brand collapsed. Endorsement deals were put on hold. VH1 removed his face from promotional clips. A network insider shared, "We are distancing from Doug Christie until further notice." The damage could not be undone. Fans were divided. Some were shocked. Others were relieved. The truth came out. But most stood with Jackie, calling her a new face of strength. Because this wasn't just about one marriage falling apart. It was about women waking up. Women rising above lies that were once painted as love stories. Jackie wasn't broken. Malaysia wasn't bitter. They were awake now. And Doug, he wasn't misunderstood. He was finally seen. So now we ask, side are you on? Are you Team Jackie strong, real, and standing even after betrayal? Or Team Malaysia bold, fearless, and done being silent? This is bigger than one couple. It's for every woman who's ever been lied to, gaslit, told to smile, and keep the family name clean. We are done pretending now. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What shook you the most? The texts, the journals, the recordings, or the fact that Doug actually thought none of it would come out? If you're tired of fake love, cheating husbands, and carefully polished lies, hit that like button. Subscribe for more real talk. And turn on your notifications, because around here, the truth doesn't hide forever. This is not just tea. It's truth, served hot. And justice finally being poured.